At 38, I thought I found my forever job until I was told I need to do more. And that just shook me to the core. So what do you do when the career you thought you were going to have forever turns out to be very uncertain? Let's get at it. One of the dangers that happens that over time, as you move through your profession, if you're lucky, you may find yourself in what I call a comfortable job, one that's stable, one that gives you the support you need, one that satisfies all of your financial requirements as well as your cultural requirements. And all of a sudden, you may find yourself believing you have now acquired your dream job. That means a job that's going to allow you to do all the things that you want to do during your personal life and your professional life during the course of your employment there. And as such, because you've decided this is your dream job, you are not taking any actions to do anything more than to do everything possible to stay at that job as long as possible. And for me, I found myself in that same spot when I was around 38 years old. I thought I was in a position where I believed that I was at a dream job, that I was at a job that I was going to be at for the remainder of my career. I had been there about 5 years, and they literally supported me in all of my endeavors, not only inside projects, but outside projects, as well as providing a support network for me in my personal activities, as well as professional. And there's nothing wrong with having a dream job, and there's nothing wrong if you believe you have a dream job. But there is a problem if there's a turn you didn't expect. In my case, it was being told after working for a firm that I was needed to do more in order to demonstrate that I could go up in a higher position within the company. Now, just merely being told to do more in of itself is not problematic. The problem in this particular instance is that up to that point, I was instructed and provided information indicating that I had been doing everything I needed to do to evolve accordingly. But now, for the very first time, I was being told that I hadn't done enough, even though I was under the impression based on information I received that I had done enough. And now I'm being told that I needed to do more in order to be able to get to the next level internally within the organization. This concept of doing more without any clear-cut direction in terms of specified goals, specified target objectives, things of that nature, created a measure of uncertainty that I had never experienced during the time that I had been there. So now I found myself in this unique position of starting to realize that maybe the company that I was working for, the firm I was working for, the long-term commitment may not have necessarily included me in that calculation. So now I found myself at a really difficult challenge because I was at a company who had been loyal and supportive of me for this entire time period, but I was now facing the fact that I was comparing the loyalty to the realization that I needed to now not look at this place as a place that I was going to be at for the long haul and wondering what does that mean for me if I choose to endeavor to try to stay longer or if I needed to look in a different direction. This is where you get to what I call the crossroad decision, because you're not just balancing your own decision, you're looking at everything in its totality. For me, I had to decide, did I want to stay and hope that everything that I was doing going forward would get me to the desired direction? Or did I want to start seeking other opportunity outside with the uncertainty of whether I would find a place that was similarly situated to where I was at, or if I needed to entertain the thought of going on my own? And it wasn't just merely focusing on what my next professional objectives were. I still had a lot of other things to take in consideration as well. I had a car note. I had a mortgage. I was married. I had all of these responsibilities that I had that were directly tied to the job that I currently had. And so now I was looking at possibly disrupting that altogether. And I didn't know what that would mean going forward. But the hardest part is when you have all these responsibilities, it sometimes makes you forget about how you managed to get to this point to begin with. In other words, for someone like myself, I had made career pivots before. This wasn't a newer phenomenon. So I had a proven track record of pivoting and being able to do so. But the difficult thing that I faced was that this part of my life, as I was heading to 38, 39 years of age, I didn't think I necessarily had to make that pivot anymore. I was yearning to be in a position where if I had to evolve, it would happen organically, internally at one place, and not me having to physically go do something else. For me, the decision was to start my own firm, and it wasn't an easy one. It's what you have to call ultimately the leap of faith, because I had no idea what to expect. I had never run my own business before. I was starting a new business with no money at all. I literally was taking advantage of opportunities that some of my colleagues had provided to me, as well as referrals, as well as using their office space. And I still had to be mindful of all my financial responsibilities, which included a mortgage, which included the car note, which included bills, all of these things. And even though I had my wife, who was also working, that provided a measure of comfort as well, the reality is that these things didn't go away just because I no longer was working for my prior firm and I had now created my own. But fortunately, 2 years afterwards, I was still going strong, and I would remain strong for the next 7 to 8 years. And it was this resiliency that helped me feel more comfortable with the reality that I had made the right decision. So by the time I had turned 40, it did not feel like I had taken a step back. I had just moved in a different direction to build upon my skill sets and build upon my ability to do things I hadn't anticipated. So what did I learn? One, I learned that skills are transferable, so never underestimate yourself. A lot of times what happens is that you think that the only person that truly values your skills is the company that you work for because they're utilizing your skills to do something for them. So there's a natural inclination to think that only your job will pay for or value the skills that you have, when you don't realize that there are plenty of people out there and opportunities out there that will take advantage of those skills if you put yourself in the right platform to be able to allow them to take advantage of it. 2, don't fall into the cruise control of your dream job. That's one of the hardest things to do because a lot of us crave stability, and there's nothing wrong with that. A lot of us crave comfort, nothing wrong with that as well. But the danger that sometimes happens is that when you put your hands and your livelihood and your future into the hands of one specific group of individuals with the thought that they are going to create this environment that's going to stay with you for a particular period of time, there's always the potential that something could happen at that job that could shake or undermine exactly what it is that you value in terms of stability. 3rd and finally, crossroads are opportunity for growth. A lot of times what happens is that because we stay so laser focused on doing what we do on a day-to-day basis, taking advantage of the fact that we have an employer that's paying for us to do certain things, that we don't realize that one of the great things, that maybe kind of tough things that comes from being at a crossroads that forces you to look at things differently is that it forces you to also grow. When you are now in a position where you start to realize that your current circumstances may change, whether it be because you're going to have to change it or somebody is going to have to change it for you, you may find that this might be the best time to start exploring skill sets that you didn't even realize that you had, or more importantly, skills that you didn't fully maximize until put in a position where you had to do so. I realized I was built for this. And so are you. A lot of times it takes being put in these positions to show you and remind you that you are the person that got to where you are today because of how resilient you are. And never let the fact that you have been in a position where you've been kind of on cruise control have you doubting all of the energy that you put into to get you to that point. If you're at a crossroads, just remember 3 things. Trust your decision, trust your resilience, and recognize you will never go wrong betting on yourself.